we have to get into the habit of, just as we're about to say hearing loss, can we reframe it? So I try to say, that's why I keep saying reduction in hearing range. So it might not be the best terminology, but at least it gets away from this loss that has such a strong association with the grieving process. This is our current hearing test, okay? Are you starting to see it from their point of view? The first time that we ever see people, we're telling them bad news. That's why we have to spend so long on our counselling training, because we're devastating them. We've got to pick up the pieces. See, when they get a hearing aid, a hearing test, we're telling them that they gain a loss, and we know that people avoid loss. They do not gain loss. So don't associate with the hearing test with getting hearing aids. We've got to break that association, which I'll show you in a moment. We're also giving them a second thing by telling them that, yeah, I'm sorry, you've come through our doors, you're deaf. We've confirmed it. You are hard of hearing. All those things that you're afraid of, and that's why you left it so long to come and see us, I'm sorry, it's true. So it's like a double whammy for them, because people avoid loss, people avoid threats to self. So why are we doing this to ourselves? And why are we doing it to them? It's not fair. It's also sending out a ready-made attitude, because everybody out there seems to know that if you get a hearing test, the only reason you get a hearing test is why? Because you're noticing problems with your hearing, or somebody else is noticing with your problems with your hearing, and they've been on at you for years. So now, at the moment, it's a case of, at what point do I get my hearing checked? That's what people think. But and you can look at Mark Track, and when you look at the attitudes that they're coming back with, you'll see this is all true. People think the reason people don't have hearing aids is because they don't think their hearing's bad enough. They don't consider hearing technology to be relevant to them. So they're picking up on ready-made attitudes that say, this isn't for you. Remember as well that when they look at the ready-made attitudes, they see that they're following the crowd. Well, 97% of people don't use hearing aids. So if they're following the crowd, that ready-made attitude is going to say, you don't need hearing aids either. Are you going to be the exception to the rule here? Are you going to be the one with a condition? Are you going to be part of that statistic where millions of people and increasing have a problem with their hearing? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants a condition. So let's look at how we work on the hearing test. You know how I said 20/20 vision? This is a term that I thought might work, but again, I'm throwing this open to discussion. There may be better terms that we can use. But I was trying to think, what functionally does normal hearing mean? And it means that all the sounds within speech get through your hearing. We're not talking about communication here, because there are other things involved in communication. We're simply saying that when we do a hearing test, do you fall within the range where you can pick up all the sounds of speech, or don't you? So speech past hearing. The next stage in somebody needing, using hearing technology or needing a hearing technology from our vocab is the threshold of reduction. So it's that point in which their hearing now goes outside of what we would call normal hearing. In other words, they're starting to miss some of the sounds within speech. The next threshold is where they actually notice it. And the next threshold is where they actually take action. Okay, so those are the stages somebody has to go through before we're relevant to them. Now, we know from the surveys that, generally speaking, the average is around 7 years that somebody takes before they actually get hearing aids. And those are the people who've actually got hearing aids. It's a lot longer for those who haven't got it. What we don't know is how long it takes them between where there is a slight reduction in their hearing to where it becomes noticeable. And so the question is, how many hearing instruments could they have been wearing during that time that have made a difference to their lives? So when do we tell people that they should get a hearing test? What's the point they should get a hearing test? Well, currently, it tends to be around here that if you're noticing a problem and we think that you need hearing aids, that's when you should come through our door. But the problem is that everybody else has known for years that they need hearing aids. They failed to recognize that. So it's a little bit like closing the door after the horse has bolted. Also, more people never reach this stage. We've already said that out of every one person that we fit with hearing aids, we leave another 3 people behind. So it's no good, it's too late. Okay, maybe it should be when people notice a problem with their hearing. But here's the problem, because they tend not to notice the problem in the first place. Or, if they notice a problem, they'll blame it on the situation, the actor-observer effect. Also, people are saying, well, that means I'll need hearing aids. And for me, hearing aids send a message saying, avoid, it's not for you. It's not relevant to you. So why do I come for a hearing test? Maybe we should move it down further, so it's when hearing goes outside of that range of normal hearing. But the problem here is, how would they know? It happens so gradually that it's hard for people to detect. Also, at what point? We've never defined what is a reduction in hearing. We haven't got any general rules, because it varies. We often say, well, it depends on the context. That's not helpful. So maybe we should do it when people have normal hearing and have it routinely throughout life. Now, the problem for us is that we often consider this to be a waste of our time, don't we? Because we think, oh, I've tested another person who got normal hearing. And that's a waste of time because I don't get any money for that. That's often how hearing aid dispensers think, hearing aid audiologists think, certainly in where I come from. A lot of it as well is our salary models are based on providing people with commission if they sell hearing aids. Also, we offer people free hearing tests. So we want people to avoid the hearing test unless we're going to get something from them. So we're sending out another signal that says, avoid us. Are you seeing where the problem's coming from now? It's coming from us. Now, remember also that one of the things that people use when they're looking at attitudes is their own actions. Is something consistent with how they've behaved in the past? Now, if I've never had a hearing test in my life, it's harder for me to go and have a hearing test if it means all these other associations.